Okay, part two. Hey, family. I'm making part two to self-hate. There's a small thing I just wanted to remind you of. Speaking on self-hate, here's another reason why a lot of our brothers and sisters, especially in Puerto Rico and some of the southern, some of the other Israeli tribes have so much self-hate. Remember, a lot of our brothers and sisters down there in the islands, they um, they don't want to identify with us because they're embedded in that Catholic religion. And of course, in the Catholic religion, Jesus Christ is depicted as Caesar Borgia, which is an Edomite. Um, that's embedded. So when they lay down to pray, that image of Caesar Borgia is in their mind. So they think white man is next to God or is God. So that's why they cling onto him so, and they want to deny themselves. They're taught self-hate. That's another teaching of self-hate. So when you really, that's another thing why I really like this message is because when you pray down to the white Jesus, well, then you're going to be looking up to the white man as is he superior or he's better or you want to be more like him. Let me read you one scripture. I have in my scarf, but let me read you a scripture. I'm going to cover my head. I'm going to read a scripture to you so that you'll know. A lot of our brothers and sisters don't know this, but Revelation, let me read this to you. Revelation 1, verse 12. Now, this is the part of Revelation where John is imprisoned on the island of Patmos, and he saw a vision. He heard an angel saying, I am Alpha and Omega, the first and the last. What you seeth, write in a book. Okay. And then verse 12 says, and I turned to see the voice that spake with me, and being turned, I saw 7 golden candlesticks. Those candlesticks represent the 7 churches that Christ set up. And in the midst, verse 13, and in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, Jesus Christ, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and the girt about the paps with a golden girdle. So this is describing what he had on. His head and his hairs, verse 14, his head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire. So his head and hairs, which means his beard and his hair were white. That was the color, and the texture was like wool. And his eyes was as a flame of fire. And his eyes being a flame of fire, Jesus did drink wine. He turned water into wine, and he's angry. So I know when my uncle drinks wine, his eyes turn red. And if he gets mad, sometimes he's not even drinking wine. His eyes turn red. And his feet, verse 15 says, and his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burnt in a furnace, and his voice as the sound of many waters. So he had a deep, strong voice, and his feet, if you look at your feet, it's the same color as your skin. So his feet was like unto fine brass, as if they burned in the furnace. That's what the scripture says. So Jesus was not that white man that a lot of you Puerto Ricans have on your wall. That's not him. That's part of the lies. And that's why right now, whatever the white people say to me, I take it very curiously. It's hard to believe anything they say because they've told us so many lies. So I say that to say a lot of self-hate comes from that right there, worshiping the white Jesus. That's a lie. So if they lied all these years about the image of Jesus, which they're not even supposed to be making images, and they prayed to that image and they prayed to those beads, and that's idolatry, and the Bible speaks against that. So self-hate comes from slavery and all that they've taught us and lied to us about. So this is part 2 of the self-hate video that I did, and I wanted to mention that because I left it out. So peace, love one another, shalom.